Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Chor. I have another video for you guys, and it's what if the Jaegers from Pacific Rim had to defend against the Rumbling? In this scenario, the Jaegers Gypsy Danger, Striker Eureka, Crimson Typhoon, Cherno Alpha, and 26 other Jaegers, 30 in total, in their peak years of 2019, will be defended against around 100,000 of the Wall Titans, all around 60 meters in height. We'll go over the strengths and weaknesses of all the Jaegers that we know of. We'll say the Titans go through a rift. All nuclear options besides Jaegers exploding are off the table for whatever reason. A second scenario will have the four main Jaegers run a mission in the middle of this attack to try and eliminate Eren Jaeger and his founding Titan. Eren's founding Titan is kind of inconsistent in size. Many different shots and panels put it at varying sizes, as low as 300 meters to potentially 800 meters in height. So I decided to use my own method, comparing Eren Jaeger's founding Titan to Ymir's, specifically the legs. Get around 350 meters and almost 900 meters long. Like I said before, there are varying estimates for the amount of Wall Titans. It was threatened that there was tens of millions of Wall Titans that will trample the world, but calculations of the Wall Titans count using the science of Attack on Titan, a former Tokyo University student. I'm sorry if I butcher this. Rikao Yanagita, using real-world physics by approximating the total circumference of walls Maria, Rosa, and Sinna, which was found to be 6,900 kilometers, and divide that by the number of the shoulder width of each Titan, which is 10 to 13 meters. The number was found to be around 585,000 Titans, which is certainly not good for the Jaegers. The book also estimates a 15-meter Titan would weigh about 300 tons, but Titans are notably lighter than they actually are. The density, which is comparable to tree bark at 240 kilograms per meters cubed. Each Titan at 60 meters in height would weigh about 700 tons. A creature of this size, using human density scaled up, would be around 2,000 to 3,000 tons. So the 700 ton mark makes sense, as the Titans cheat using their Titan biology. If you want to say they are around 2,000 to 3,000 range, that's fine. It would be about the same as the low estimates for the Jaeger weights. Each Titan should be able to punch and take city block levels of attack potency, upscaling Reiner being able to tank the transformation on the lighter side of the Colossal Titan. Each of the Wall Titans should be able to lift at least 18.5 thousand metric tons, upscaling from Eren's feet of lifting the boulder, since they are 4 times as tall and quite a bit heavier. Determine the scaling factor. The scaling factor is the ratio of two Titans' heights. Since Eren's attack Titan is 15 meters tall and the Wall Titan is 60 meters tall, the factor is S equals 60 over 15 equals 4. You apply muscle strength scaling according to square cube law. While mass increases cuboidally, muscle strength, therefore lifting capacity, scales with the cross-sectional area of the muscles, which increases quadratically. Compute final lifting capacity. To find the final lifting capacity of the Wall Titans, multiply Eren's capacity by the square of the scaling factor, 4 squared. Wall Titan lifting 18,500 times 4 squared, which would be about 296,000 tons. So if you wanted to know if the Titans can just yeet the Jaegers across the battlefield, they would definitely be able to. Would actually be able to lift 3 Godzilla 2014s at once. I, of course, think there's probably some drop-off in strength, as it's natural for anything small to be more efficient in lifting weight, like some insects. So 100k ton lifting strength for each, especially since the attack Titan proportionally should be stronger than the other Titans, would be much more reasonable. And you would find out that lifting strength probably wouldn't matter. For speed, Hanji estimates the Rumbling travels 600 kilometers in 12 hours, which is around 50 kilometers per hour. The Comet speed would be around Mach 0.29, which is the 3D maneuver gear speed, and they can intercept these speeds. Also, the Attack Titan travel speed is Mach 0.25, and Eren got completely surprised and got launched by Bertold. Of course, the Wall Titans are kind of mindless and are just kind of punch and kick merchants. They wouldn't be as smart as the Colossal Titan shifters. Now, for the Jaegers, there are varying sizes. We know about at least 10 of them. We have the specs of. Estimates put the amount of analog Jaegers at about 15 to 20, consisting of all the Mark 1 through 3 variants, and 15 to 10, Mark 4 to 5 digital. We'll put it at 20 and 10 to make it more consistent. Before we talk about how hard they can hit or weight estimates, we're going to have to talk about how long they can fight for. The older models can sustain combat for 12-hour plus. Journal Alpha fought for 15 hours, but at this amount of time, the neural handshake becomes very weak and system failure. The digital Jaegers are more like sprinters, can fight on average 3+ hours. Striker is an exception at 5 hours. Stacker famously fought solo because of his co-pilot's death in battle and fought by himself for 3 hours. Raleigh fought Knifehead for 15 minutes solo, then traveled to shore an estimated 2 hours solo. So 15 hours for approximately 20 Jaegers, and 10 Jaegers approximately 4 hours, being generous. Single pilot at least 2 to 3 hours. Also by this point in 2019, all known Mark II Jaegers are destroyed and unknown. At least one is still around. That leaves Mark V, 1 active Striker Eureka, Mark IV, 9 active Crimson Typhoon, Hijack Corinthian, Nova Hyperion, Echo Saber, Mammoth Apostle, Mark III, 12 active Estimate, Alice Destroyer, Vulcan Spectre, Chrome Brutus, and Shalon Rogue, Meteor Theory. Mark II, 1 active Estimate, Diablo Intercept, Mark I, 7 active Estimate, Cherno Alpha, Coyote Tango, Horizon Brave. Across all models at this point, estimated height average of 79 meters. Mark 1's on average are 85.3 meters. Mark II on average is 79.8 meters. Mark III is on average 79.5 meters. Mark 4 through 5 is on average 76.2 meters. In the lore, the weights of these Jaegers are super light, as their density would be comparable to styrofoam. Mark 1's being 2,400 tons, Mark 2's being 2,100 tons, Mark 3 being 1,900 tons, Mark 4 being 1,700 tons, and Mark 5 being 1,850 tons. There are blueprints that have the weight Gypsy Danger at 7,080 tons and Cherno Alpha at 6,912 tons. None of these weights are consistent at all with the movie, with Mark 1's being the heaviest. I found this comment on a Reddit post about the weights of being super light. So everything is actually about 22 times heavier. Realistic weights scaling up would be Mark 1's would be 52,800 tons, Mark 2's being 46,200 tons, Mark 3's being 40,800 tons, Mark 4's being 37,400 tons, Mark 5's being 40,700 tons. But these weights are far too heavy for the ground to sustain. The standard live load of concrete can handle 40 PSF. Heavy duty industrial would be able to handle 5,000 PSF. To put it into perspective, a Jaeger of this weight would exert over 70,000 PSF. Walking would double this. In cities, they would sink 15 to 30 feet underground. Some areas of soil would sink 100 to 200 feet deep until it reaches bedrock. The weights mentioned by the blueprints would be much more consistent with a 3.5 multiplier, with Mark 1's being 8,400 tons, Mark 2's being 7,350 tons, Mark 3's being 6,650 tons, Mark 4's being 5,950 tons, Mark 5's being 6,475 tons. These weights would slightly sink into the ground, but would be manageable, and the cannon weights would make them impossible to go underwater, but this would be possible with these weights for real life. And again, these things are also not real, so if you want to take their cannon weights, go ahead. The 3.5 times multiplier makes it possible. Otherwise, these Jaegers would be, as I said before, comparable in density to styrofoam, and they would kind of just float to the surface. These weights are much more accurate, but from the earlier calculation of strength of a well-tying, you see this doesn't matter. If you want to use their lower weight shore or middle weights, all around 7,000 tons, it won't really matter. Now, these Jaegers can all exert large town levels of force, as they are all superior to the Category 1 Kaiju, Trespasser, who was literally the first kaiju who, just by waking up, created a magnitude 7.1 earthquake from its movement at the ocean floor. Gypsy Danger can move at Mach 1.7 when charging. The breach can grab the kaiju at these speeds, likely combat applicable. Itachi can fly at over Mach 5.7. Gypsy Danger can handle a portion of Striker Eureka's explosion, so about large town level. Striker Eureka can explode a bomb at large mountain level with only Striker's blades. Gypsy Danger's reactor explosion and sword being somewhat comparable at 1 to 2 gigatons. Let's say they would each be able to kill 4 wall titans a minute. It would take 81 hours per Jaeger needed from all of them to kill all the wall titans. Considering the massive discrepancy in strength, not all the Jaegers hit way harder and would quickly learn you would have to go for the napes. 12 hours of combat, they would take 80,000 titans. They don't even need to kill this many. There appears in most shots with Aaron to be about a couple hundred titans around him. That would be an immediate threat. Let's say around 1,000. Let's say another 50,000 titans would be able to reinforce and defending Aaron in those 12 hours. Along with the various abilities of Aaron Jaeger, like the ability of the Warhammer Titan to produce spikes out of the ground, which might be able to damage the Jaegers, although the value of the spikes might only be able to stagger, as they are about 600 times weaker than the Jaeger's durability. Obviously, Aaron can bring back past shifters and do assaults with Zeke's throwing, like likely totaling 0 damage. I mean, I gotta be honest, the value of the Colossal Titan's transformation is the only real threat for the Jaegers. I mean, the first kaiju in the movie Trespasser was able to yield that 673 kilotons through an earthquake. If you want to be fair, it took 3 10 kiloton nukes to bring it down. But this is the first ever kaiju in the movie in the whole lore. But from before the yield Gypsy took while heavily damaged, it's about 112 kilotons. So you could just say that their durability just massively improved through the Mark 1s through 3. The Colossal Titan's transformation seen by Berthold was only about 37 tons of TNT. If you want to be more generous to the Colossals and say that Aaron could use Armin's transformation, which would yield about 980 kilotons, which would most likely be able to take out at least 2 Jaegers, and it most likely being pulverization and not vaporization. So it would likely not be in the megaton range, likely not vapor, it's likely just steam. In this situation, Aaron is not holding back. It's very likely he would try to use his tech as much as possible if it didn't blow him up either. I mean, we literally see this happens from Armin's transformation one time. Bertold throws the Armor Titan and would yield 2 kilotons, so not even enough to scratch the Jaegers. So, in conclusion, is it possible that Aaron could take out a portion of the Jaegers? Yes, probably at least 10 to 15 of them, considering if this encounter plays out just like as I said it would. Most likely, the Jaegers running an elite squad to take out Aaron would probably be able to do it with some sacrifice play from one of the older nuclear reactors of the Marks 1 through 3, as Aaron might be able to transform into his own Colossal Titan, but then he would just get jumped by the remaining Jaegers, and even in a one-on-one, he wouldn't even be able to take on one of them. Even if you think the transformation scales the durability, I don't know why you would think, since World War caliber artillery were able to take out the Wall Titans, Aaron Jaeger would get overwhelmed by the Jaegers. So, could the Jaegers stop the rumbling? Probably yes, with some casualties. Could the 4 from the time of the movie stop the rumbling? Probably not, unless they get helicopter dropped in. But at that point, Aaron would have the Colossal Titan or Zeke throw something at the helicopters and they would drop in. I know Gypsy Danger could likely survive the fall, but the other 3 are likely getting dropped. And to be honest, the Jaegers just punch through the Wall Titans like butter. I mean, it's not even fair, to be honest. But I think the 4 would probably get overwhelmed eventually, and the 30 would definitely be more than enough. I mean, they wouldn't even need to take out all the Titans. They would just need to be able to take out Aaron. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Jaeger Stomp. Aaron Jaeger.